Imagine completing your address change on your Louisiana driver's license from the comfort of your own couch without those agonizing DMV visits. Stay tuned, and we'll show you how to make this process an absolute breeze. Well, at least that's what you're probably hoping for. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into the surprisingly complex and honestly high-stakes reality of updating your Louisiana driver's license address. We're looking at expectation versus reality. And let me tell you, what you think you know about updating your ID in the Pelican State, yeah, it might actually land you a traffic ticket. Let's get into it. Your time is super valuable, so here's our quick roadmap for today. We'll be covering the 10-day rule, the online myth, in-state versus out-of-state movers, gathering your documents, and finally, skipping those dreaded OMV lines.
Section 1. The 10-day rule and why the clock is ticking.
So let's start with the legal stakes, because honestly, moving is stressful enough without accidentally breaking state law. If you've just unpacked your last box in Louisiana, you'd probably think you have plenty of time to update your official documents, right? I mean, most of us just assume the DMV can wait a few months while we get settled. You notify the post office, you tell your bank, and you figure the state will just catch up eventually. Unfortunately, the law totally disagrees with that relaxed timeline. Under Louisiana Revised Statute 32406, you have exactly 10 days to notify the Office of Motor Vehicles, or OMV, of your new address. Literally just 10 days. If you get pulled over during a routine traffic stop and the address on your physical license doesn't match where you actually sleep at night, you risk getting a citation and a fine right there on the side of the road. Law enforcement strictly enforces this, so, this isn't just some polite bureaucratic suggestion. It is a hard legal requirement. Section 2. The online myth. Expectation versus reality. Right now, you're probably thinking, okay, I'll just hop online and knock this out in 5 minutes. Which brings us to a really fascinating administrative paradox. Look at this massive disconnect between what the legislature wrote and what the actual technology allows. On the left, Act 335, which was passed by the Louisiana legislature in 2021, explicitly permits residents to update their permanent addresses online, by mail, or in person. Sounds amazing, right? But looking at the administrative reality on the right, the Louisiana OMV simply does not have a functioning digital portal to process an address change remotely. Yep, despite the legal mandate, you literally can't do this online. You have to go in person. Let's look a little closer at why that digital route fails. The state's official digital portal is called Express Lane. Now, while you can renew a license or request a duplicate on there, the system is strictly configured to prohibit any changes to your profile data, like your address. It's built this way to prevent identity fraud. If you try to outsmart the system by just ordering a duplicate license online, hoping you can kind of sneak the new address in there, the system flags the mismatch. It'll just automatically mail a new card bearing your old address straight to your old house. Oh, and the state's digital ID app, LA Wallet, it explicitly states that credential changes must be made in person. Do not try to use the app to submit these changes, it just won't work. Section 3. In-state versus out-of-state movers. So, since you absolutely have to handle this in person, your path forward depends entirely on where you're moving from. If you're an in-state mover, meaning you already have a Louisiana license and you just changed your local address, you are bound by that super strict 10-day deadline we just talked about. However, if you are an out-of-state transplant moving into Louisiana for the first time, the state gives you a bit more breathing room. You get 30 days to transfer your out-of-state license once you establish residency. But hey, here is a massive warning for our in-state residents. If you go down to the OMV for a simple address update, and your current license is within 90 days of its expiration date, a simple $17 address update just won't cut it. The OMV will actually force you to complete a full license renewal transaction instead. So absolutely check your expiration date before you head out the door so you aren't blindsided by higher fees and a completely different process. Now, for our out-of-state transplants, your 30-day process has a few very specific steps. First up, you have to establish residency. This can mean living in the state for 7 months of the year, registering to vote, getting a job, or maybe enrolling your kids in school. Second, you must physically surrender your old state's ID. Yeah, the OMV will literally take it from you for destruction. And third, while the written and road tests are usually waived for standard licenses, you will be required to pass a vision exam right there on site. Section 4. Gathering your documents. The absolute worst thing you can do is wait in an hour-long line only to get turned away for a missing piece of paper. So feel free to pause this explainer right here to take notes on this matrix. It's your ultimate cheat sheet. Notice the pattern here. If you own a vehicle, absolutely everyone needs to bring proof of auto insurance. If you just want a standard address change on a non-real ID, You just bring your current license, one proof of residency like a utility bill, and your insurance. But if you're upgrading to a real ID or transferring from out of state, the requirements double. You'll need primary ID like a birth certificate or passport, secondary ID like your social security card, and you need 2 distinct proofs of your new physical address. The rules are also very, very specific if you're updating an address for a minor under the age of 18. It's not just about the teenager showing up. The law requires the domiciliary parent, which basically means the parent who has primary physical custody, or a legal guardian to be there in person to sign for it. That guardian must present their own picture ID, and crucially, the proofs of residency provided for the minor have to match the parent's records exactly. Now, before you pull out your wallet to pay the standard $17 fee, plus any local fees which can add up to $8, you need to know about the street renaming loophole. If you haven't actually moved, but you're forced to update your address because your parish or municipality officially renamed your street or highway, Louisiana law waives the duplicate fee entirely. Yep, don't pay for an address change if the local government forced it upon you.
Section 5. Skipping OMV lines.
Okay, so you have your documents organized, you know you have to go in person, but what if I told you that you don't actually have to go to a state-run OMV office? This is honestly the best-kept secret in Louisiana motor vehicle services. You can completely bypass the notoriously long OMV waiting rooms by visiting an authorized public tag agent. These are state-authorized third-party businesses, places like FastPass or ABC Title. Because they're officially contracted with the state, they can legally process your documents, update your address in the state system, and print your new physical ID right there on the spot, usually in just a few minutes. It is a massive time saver for a process that, as we've learned, stubbornly refuses to go digital. Before we wrap up, a quick reminder. This explainer is intended for informational purposes only. Please refer to the official Louisiana DMV website for the most current information and direct assistance regarding driver's license changes. Now that you're armed with the truth about Louisiana's in-person requirements, you have the exact document checklist and you know how to skip the main OMV lines entirely. If this explainer saved you a headache, absolutely share it with someone who just moved. The only question left is, your 10-day countdown has already started. So, are you ready to beat the clock?